Hello, this is Swagonfly again, episode 7 of our Halo 5 Force tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to discuss scripting weapons and how they can be used to enhance the gameplay in a given custom games map. So this is going to be a really cool tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy this and learn a lot out of it so we can go ahead and apply it to different maps in the community. So basically what we're going to go ahead and do is that we're going to give the player a specific ability every time they grab a weapon. And the way that we can do this, the simplest way to do this, would be to go ahead and assign a boundary for the player to walk into in terms of the weapon used. And that way we can go ahead and give the player a specific ability when they use it, and then lose that ability when they discard the weapon. So before we begin setting up these boundaries, I'm going to go ahead and set some targets over here in this area, so you can go ahead and see what I mean. So let's go ahead and, just add a few mongooses. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take these mongooses and assign a label to them for the purpose of this tutorial. Since I am by myself, I cannot use another player for this type of target practice, so I'm going to have to settle for a vehicle. And what we're going to go ahead and do is that we're going to assign a label to these mongooses, and we're going to use label user alpha for the purpose of this tutorial. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this with Control D, and that way we have a number of targets. Okay, so that's cool. And let's go ahead and go back to our weapons here real quick. This time I'm gonna go ahead and add a spawn point because we're going to have to test this out on custom games. More on this later. So let's go ahead and start with Nornfang. This is probably gonna have the most interesting power-up that we can script into the players, and we're gonna go ahead and set a boundary for this. So we're gonna go ahead and try to use a cylinder boundary. If not, we'll use a box boundary. It should work either way. So let's see here. Okay, so that's a pretty nice boundary. Let's go ahead and make that a bit small. Okay, so this should be good enough. Alright. Now, we're gonna go ahead and go to our script. I'm going to add our first script. And our first script will be considering boundary check enter when the player enters the boundary. And what we're gonna go ahead and do here is that we're gonna go to our list of actions, go all the way to the bottom and look for nav marker change. And basically what we're gonna go ahead and do is set up some very specific parameters to make sure that the player holding the weapon is the one who gets the ability. So let's go ahead and use the activator object, which is the object that triggered the event, in this case the player entering the boundary. And we're gonna go ahead and leave it to add and put targets as label add user alpha. We're gonna go ahead and customize our waypoint, make it a red colored waypoint, and then we're gonna change the text to, target. Okay, and we're gonna leave this at a 500 unit distance. So this is our script for adding a lock-on ability to the sniper rifle, to the player when he uses a sniper rifle. So we're gonna go ahead and set up a second script to remove this ability once the player exits the boundary. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is that we're gonna go back to our actions, we're going to nav marker change, and with the activator object, the player, we're going to remove the labels that were added, the waypoints that were added to any object that has the alpha label on it. And let's see how this works. Okay, so I just picked up Nornfang, and that's okay. So we can go ahead and move a little bit closer so we can see our waypoints. It's not probably, hold on. Let me go ahead and try that again. Okay, so I'm gonna have to modify the boundary a little bit. Sometimes this does happen when you're picking up weapons. It can be a little bit goofy. So let's go ahead and try this again and reset it. Okay. Let me go ahead and make the boundary a little bit bigger. I don't want to make it too big because I don't want the other players having the same trait. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So as you can see, we have a lock-on ability, and once we exit the boundary, no more lock-on. So once we grab it again, we're locked onto our targets again. You can actually add these waypoints to players as well, and that way, you know, you can also target players this way as well. So that's a pretty cool thing to do. All right, let me go ahead and okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the other two weapons to show how we can do some additional scripting and some additional cool stuff with them. So now you can see that with the Nornfang, we used a lock-on capacity for target brightness, and now we can go ahead and move on to our saw and our Spartan Blades. This is going to be a little bit different. There's some very specific conditions you need to meet in order to make this other method work. But let's go ahead and establish a cylindrical boundary like last time. So we're going to use the same boundary size and type for these two weapons. And then we'll go ahead and move on to our scripting. Alright, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add another script. This time we're going to use boundary check. Players enter just like last time. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and move to our actions and go to the section trait apply. So what this does is that it actually gives players a specific trait that is customized in custom games for the mini game type. It only works on mini games. It does not work in any other game type. It doesn't work on Infection, doesn't work on Capture the Flag, doesn't work on Griffball. It only works for mini games. So this is why if you're going to do something like this, then your map needs to be based on a mini game type. So like we did last time, we're going to apply a specific trait. It's customizable, and we're going to assign the activator in the parameters like last time. And there's 4 trait types that you can add to the player in custom game settings for mini games, and that would be Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. We'll go ahead and cover this for now later, but for now let's go ahead and set everything up. Now let's go ahead and create an exit script just like last time. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go to trait clear, and it removes the traits from the player as soon as he exits the boundary. So activator object, perfect. To save some time, I should have actually just clicked this other weapon as well and done the exact same thing, but it's no big deal. Okay, so 6 4 4. Okay, let's go ahead and Control E to reset the orientation. Okay, nice. Everything's looking good so far. Okay, let's go ahead and make an identical script. You probably have the idea at this point. Now, in this case, we're gonna go ahead and provide a different trait for the players when they use this weapon. So we're gonna go ahead and apply trait Bravo to this weapon here. And then when the player exits the boundary, we're just gonna go ahead and clear the traits for the activator object, which is the player. Okay, cool. So far so good, right? Okay. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do is that we're gonna we're gonna go ahead and save this as a new map. We're gonna put scripted weapons, as a name, because we need to customize these abilities in their minigame. And let's go ahead and take care of that right now. Okay, so now we're in the custom game menu, right? So once you exit Forge, you want to go ahead and go to custom games, and you want to go ahead and pull out your map under my files. In this case, we're going to pull up scripted weapons, and we're going to put play in custom games. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go down to the mini game type, since this is the only game type where you can actually use these custom traits. And let's go ahead and see what we can do for the players. So you click game mode options, and immediately to the bottom of the list, we're going to see player trait configuration, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. This is where you customize the player's traits. So let's go ahead and start with Bravo for the Spartan Laser. And what we're going to go ahead and do is let's go ahead and give the player more speed. And we're going to give the player 200% speed, right? And yeah, that's all we're gonna do, really. And just, you know, for visual effects as well, let's go ahead and choose raise the shield percentage to 500%, and that way the player carrying the Spartan Laser will have 500% shield and faster movement speed, and they will lose those traits as soon as they let go of the Spartan Laser. So let's go to configuration Bravo, where our rec variant of the saw called the Answer is going to be modified. So in this case, what we go ahead and do, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and provide... Hold on. Let's go ahead and put infinite ammo bottomless clip. Right? Infinite ammo. And we're going to go ahead and increase the damage to 200%. Oh wait, no, that's for grenades. My apologies. Okay, so it looks like we can't really apply any additional weapon damage. But that's okay, it's no big deal. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do that. So with Alpha and Bravo, Alpha we're gonna add additional shields and movement. Bravo we're gonna go ahead and add infinite ammo and then lose those traits when you let go of both weapons. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not gonna save this game time because I won't need to, but let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. Okay, so we have our map here. We have our Nornfang rifle, very powerful weapon. Now we're gonna go ahead and use our Spartan Laser. Whoop, whoop. Okay, and now we have our speed boost, as you can see, and yeah, that's pretty much how that works right there. So let's go ahead and climb our way back up. There it is. And also we're gonna put 500% damage resistance, like that, you see? Doesn't deplete your shields. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use the Answer variant, which has a damage boost, so should destroy the field. Oh no, it's not damage boost, it's bottomless clip, I think. Okay, so it looks like it didn't apply this trait, so let's go ahead and try again. There we go. Okay, now we have bottomless clip. Okay, so it looks like the Spartan Laser was actually, the Spartan Laser's boundary was interfering with the Answer's boundary, so I guess we need to be a little bit more careful about that. But yeah, so yeah, bottomless clip. You can see traits were applied, and that's pretty much how it works. So let's see what happened if I used both weapons. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now, this is a pretty interesting thing you can do as well. You can actually get combination traits depending on which weapons you have equipped on you, because the boundaries are still affecting you despite having picked up the weapon. So we're gonna go ahead and do a... Let's see here. Hold on. There we go. So now we have Whip and Spartan Blades are really popular with them as well. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so that pretty much covers it for this episode. Hopefully you'll be able to create some pretty incredible weapon combinations with this, and I wish you the best of luck. So thank you for watching my video, and hope you have a great day.